Everybody. So, as promised, back at 4:30 and trying to do more exercises and trying to get myself in shape and hopefully show you some stuff. Right. So, let's start with the warm up. Right. So, hands. So, we are back to the regular week and back to the strength building. So, the exercise that I tried to show last week for the fingers. It's easier in video because you can actually stop and see how the transitions are done, but essentially it's very easy. You just grab it and do this. And other hand as well. The transitions are actually like I mentioned the other day, they are your essential blade transitions from the dagger work. But the other good exercise, like I said before, is to start building up strength by drawing the numbers. One hand, two hands, whichever one you're comfortable with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. The other hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 0, 9. Oh, 9 is right. Head is still gonna work. If you want to do just always the wide ones with the two hands, it kind of is beneficial because you can help yourself by making sure blade is always led in the right direction. Remember the cutting edge? Always cutting the numbers. The other extremely good exercise to build up the strength, especially in the arms, is your chair. So I happen to have the chair right here, so let me show you what you can do. I mean, sure you can do it with the weights and have fun time with the weights, but it's a regular chair, right? So you start by trying to hold it like this. As your arms progressively getting stronger, you hold it like this. If you feel super cocky, you can do that. If you feel that you're strong enough and you can hold it for 10-20 seconds, try that. Right? And then as you're building up your muscles, because that's actually very hard. I mean, it might look, especially if the chair is like mine, a solid wood, but anyway, if you do it like this, you're solid. once you get there, see, my left hand is still out of shape. So you need to get yourself to the point where you can do this at some moment in your life. I can do it on the left less than on my right because I have the damage in my left hand, but it helps you to build the stronger muscles and, you know, your regular home equipment. Just be very careful when you do it, because if you haven't developed enough strength in here yet, you might twist your wrist and then it's less fun. So, because remember, start from here. Try to do the stretched arms or slightly bent arms. Just hold it for a little bit. See how long you can get. Then you progress to here, 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 and so on. So that gives you enough strength in your arms to actually do a whole bunch of stuff. If you trying to be fancy, you can combine those with the warming up your core, i.e. you just do your usual wide stance to warm up the thing, and you just hold it while you can. The good rule of thumb is that when you feel that you're reaching your limit, when it's starting to shake and it's like super painful and stuff, try to push yourself to count to 5 after that. That will get you to the point where your muscles will start actually feeling it. People dragging around. Dragging it. So this good exercise. The legs are something that we haven't addressed yet much. So you have your usual set of the stretches. You will obviously do this ones, right? Trying to get your legs lower and do it both with the heel to the ground and heel off the ground. They're slightly different. Just feel the stretch, try to get as wide as you can. If you need to prop yourself, like I do, because of the age, because of the inability to do something, or just, you know, because of some other damage, don't be ashamed. Everybody has to do it one point or another. Try to stretch. So these are good, but you want to combine them with some extra ones. These ones are fantastic. There's also these guys. When you go completely out and do this. I'm not sure you can actually see. I'm probably too close to the camera yet. Anyway, these are just the side ones. They're very helpful as well, especially if you go to the muscle or sciatica pulled in, as I did recently. Is it? Yes, I think you can. It doesn't matter if this one is on the ground or not. If you can put it on the ground, it's fine. It progressively will get there. If you're out of shape like me, or if you have old injuries, don't worry much, just try to stretch these gaps. You will feel it here. So these are very good. So we stretched now, we warmed up. We can start by doing some flow exercises to help your joints, help your muscles to relax from what you just did, stretches, and from the exercise. If you feel, again, this is the moment when you can also do the push-ups and those sorts of stuff, but honestly, it's not really something that you have to do all the time. So you start by just relaxing a little bit and twisting around your core. You just letting yourself feel the flow, feel your body. Make sure that there is no super sharp aches. If you feel really some sharp pain, chill, listen to your body. Your body will actually tell you where it could not go. If it's just a stretching kind of feeling, then you're alright. If it's a sharp, stop, make sure that you address this, then come back to exercises. So after you felt a little bit how you flow, right, you can grab a bucket, or like I did before, the mop, right, and you just do the swinging motions around yourself, just to make sure, just to build up the confidence, and also if you change the grip like this, it will help you to figure out the distance, the ridge distance that you have across the entire field of vision. It will help you if you're trying to later on go funny and do the swings and not damaging anything in the room. But in general, it just helps to kind of get you in a moment when you feel how your blade goes and relaxes you a little bit after all the exercises. So for those who are watching it in the and doesn't speak Russian. Ребята, я извиняюсь очень сильно, но я это как бы во многом делаю для того, чтобы просто больше людей охватить немножко. Если потом будет интерес когда-то делать по-русски это, я с удовольствием это сделаю по-русски. So, apologies for English-speaking people. It's a little bit of Russian. So, as you progressed through the rotation, right, you start to add this. It will slowly start engaging these muscles in your core. You'll step forward, step back, step back, step back, step forward. Any way you like it, you can start engaging your feet. Just remember that always you do inhale, exhale. There is no reason to be fast. There is no reason to rush anywhere. Count your breaths. Feel your breath flowing. If you want to start adding just any kind of fanciful movements, this is a very good moment to do it, because you just do the free flow and you're trying to figure out how the blade flows. So, once you kind of feel a little bit more geared up, relaxed, flowy, if you like, your muscles are now warmed up, you're stretched up, ready to go. And you start with the regular cuts. These ones, so there's the traditional ones that you can do if you feel like doing the more kendo-ish cuts. You can start almost from touching your buttocks with the blade on this way. If you feel like you're not following that, that's fine as well, as long as you're crossing. So don't just stop there. Always try to go wider in the movement. It will help you later. So try to do 20 of those. Remember, your back's supposed to be almost straight. Your arms never fully straight. You never do this, they're always like this. The reason why is, and notice that when I'm cutting, my arms going here, they're not doing here. If you do here, you lose it. Your arms can no longer control it, it all falls out, it's all horrible. You always follow. If you want to make it interesting, you do 3 distinct heights. Head, about solar plexus, and a little bit lower to the legs. Then you do the diagonals. I know it feels almost weird, and you feel that it's the same, but it's actually not. It's a slightly different group of muscles. What it also gives you, especially if you do it against the camera, against the window, against the mirror, make sure these guys, shoulders, do not do this. You don't dance. It doesn't matter which arm leads. Shoulders should not really be engaged in this. All of this purely done by this group of muscles. And again, ideally, if you do it super slow, you will never hear it, because if you do it like this, then no. If you do it like this, use the scale, you can hear, probably even on the camera right now, you can see slight, you can not see, hear slight whoosh. That's when the blade oriented in the proper position, and you feel the cut. So, after you've done 20 of those, you can, again, and this ones, you can kind of switch if you feel too stale. So you do the left, right, left, right, left, right. If you feel too bored, you can do the steps. I generally do them on the same spot, just so I can concentrate on the work of this case and on the actual feeling of the cut, rather than trying to figure out, well, not trying to work out, but, you know, stepping, moving is kind of putting you in a slightly different mindset, if you like. So, you've done those, then you want to generally start engaging your core a little bit more and a little bit more of your back. So, you're starting to do slices. Remember I told you the difference between the just regular hit, right, and a cut. Strike, cut, strike, cut. They're different. You go in deeper and you build in your body as the kind of twisting spring. You build up momentum. And you store in your energy in your back leg and in your kind of twisted waist a little bit. This gives you enough of strength that is stored in here to do the jump from the rear leg and attack. And I think I've just run out of thingy, so cut, and then you jump off this and strike. But what it also does, it warms up this movement. It teaches you to not do this. And starting adding this jumpiness in your movement, and also engages your other muscles in your legs, in your core, so it becomes more of the whole body work rather than just arms doing this. Because having just arms, doesn't matter how strong they are, will not get you, well, I mean, it'll get you somewhere, but in a night, if you're trying to be achieve certain nice sword play, then you will lose a whole bunch of interesting opportunities if you just do that. Right. So, you've done those. Then you start to practice, or well, I start to practice the upper ones. Right. The ones that go in diagonal and go upwards to the diagonal. These ones again you can do with the stepping, if you feel fanciful, or you can just do it standing in the same spot. It doesn't really matter. Whichever one. So if you're trying to just add more workout for the legs, for example, right, then yes, it makes sense. If you're trying to concentrate on execution of cuts, your legs might distract you a little bit. So, and the same deal, right? So we've done 20 of those, 20 of those, 20 of those. We're trying to do 20 of those. The reason why you want to keep count is so you don't skip through the parts that you feel that you know towards the parts that you feel that you need to work on. Because as soon as you start skipping, you're starting to slack. So after you're done this, and notice that when I'm doing them with the steps, I tend to kind of rotate a little bit on my foot. The reason why I'm doing this is because I'm trying to protect my front leg from being cut, but I'm also making sure that these muscles are all getting their workout. Especially if you do it with the heavier stuff, right? I mean, this guy is, I don't know, 5 times as heavy as this. So you did that, it was the real piss, and after a while, you will feel very different. Like how easy it looks, or how not easy it looks. And also when you start to watch movies, and you see the guy doing dances with things like this, right, you go like, yeah, no. No. There is no shortcut when this thing flies around. There is no super duper fast movements or changing directions. It doesn't, no. It requires some serious build up muscles to do some fanciful stuff that you can see in things like Witcher, for example, right? When they do this, all the magic cuts, and then you find out that they do it with the swords and swords. Anyway, so now that we've built the upper cuts, diagonal cuts, the other thing I like to do is to do the horizontal ones and make sure that I stop making them in the doubles. I stop in the middle and then I do the full cut. Stop in the middle and make the full cut. The reason why you want, again, the reason why you want to make sure that you always stop in the middle instead of going all the way through is because if you're trying to work with somebody later on, if you're trying to do it against the any real person. Unless you go for the kill, or if you're doing a stage combat where you're doing exaggerated movements just so people look at it better, or you know, it doesn't look more fanciful. You want to be able to stop and control your blade at any given moment. So if you know where this stops versus this, you know that if you do this and the person feels threatened, or your partner forgotten something, you will not just go mental and just cut them in halves, right? Because even the plastic ones, even the wooden ones, they can do a lot of damage. I mean, this thing, if I would go like rails, so this is the solid wooden chair, right? If I actually let it go in a full swings, this chair doesn't have a chance. Hell, it will just fall apart. Not because this is sharp. As you can see, this is actually not. Right, this is the blade edge. Right, it's not particularly sharp. It's actually very close to the your sharpness of your regular skating blade. So very, very close to that. But when it goes at this speed and at this weight, it will go through this bits of wood and the skin and the bones. We are actually very brittle creatures, humans. It will go. Anyway, so long story short, right? So always try to do this. The reason why you want to do this as well, not so the horizontal ones, is because it teaches you a few very interesting moments. It teaches you the upper and the lower hand cut, just grip. Like this. Right, notice that there's the upper and the lower, right? But they never go like this, they never go in a fancy ways. And it also trains your lower hand crazy. If you do it slowly and use the heavy stuff. If you do it with the lighter stuff, it just teaches you the control. That's what I love. So, anyway, so now, sorry. I would also recommend to learn how to do that. I will show them this one because it might actually be easier to see. How to do rotations. Rotations are extremely good because if you do it one-handed, it builds up control in your wrist a little bit. It helps you to distinguish between the cuts and uppercuts because you go through all these rotations. And it also helps you to, build up the muscles and coordination. So just be mindful that if your wrist goes out, there is no things that you can damage, nothing that your sword can fly into or the piece of. So if you're having trouble seeing how it goes, you can always just kind of pause the video and just go little bit by little bit. So I will go slow, but obviously, not being in person, right, I could not help you to move your hands in the same way. So just bear with me. So this, guys, we just did. We did it with two hands, maybe you done it with one hand, but you know how it feels, you know how it flows. So rotations in the regular 8 shape are actually extremely simple. Once you realize how it goes, you will start noticing that they are your basic cuts, right? Cuts, 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 cuts. What you can start noticing about yourself is that you can also start adding this rotation in the 8. So you just do this, 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 and then instead of just doing in a different opposing plane, right, as you would normally do this, you can actually do this and just do twice rotations on the planes, so it kind of becomes more fanciful and it looks pretty cool from the side. But it also helps your grips to work stuff out. So then, as you learn how to integrate this, guys, and this is actually probably the easiest rotations from which you can start figuring out how the 8 is going around you. It's not just that it goes here, right? It doesn't go there, it doesn't go there. The actual plane of rotation is very much in a frame of my body. So you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this, and then if you're brave, you do this, which is the way how you can really hit somebody very well. So just be mindful of this one. So if you're trying to repeat this movement in the actual fight, or well, with the opponent or stage fight, just be mindful that there is actually a lot of inertia goes for this. It's actually very hard to stop. And the reason for this movement, it's the hit with the sable or with the weighted whip from the horse. It's done from the horse, sitting on the horse, so it can actually go through the whole bunch of blocks, you know, space shields and all that. And even if you're not on a horse, if you do that, and there's the guy with the shield, it actually will really, really damage somebody. It's kind of the same as if you're trying to do the punches, right? So you do the regular punches, and then there's the whip ones that just basically just go like a lash. And they are extremely painful and very powerful. Anyway, so the rotations are very good to have in your exercise routine. It helps you to go through a bunch of the motions and helps you to rotate through routines as well, if you like, right? Right. Rotates and rotate. Anyway, it helps you. Just trust me on this one. So the last one that I highly recommend to start doing is this. The back grip. The same 8 as you just did, or as I just did, right? It's the same one. The difference in this one is that my hand is actually leading the process. Whereas in the regular grip, the blade is what goes through. This one right. So that's about enough on the strength building and flexibility building. The next video will be on the attack defense in the regular angles, and I will not touch thrusts. I will just touch the only slices and the cuts. The back ones, Lana is right. So if you do the back ones on the stuff that is longer than you are, right? So remember I talked about the proper length of the equipment. So if you do the back grip ones on the stuff that is actually short. I mean, it's easier to make them on the shorter ones than to make them on the longer ones. I don't have super long stick handy to me, so sorry, I'll just grab it like this, right? So you notice that the control is actually harder. Still do it, it just requires more attention. So anyway, so like I say, the next time we'll talk about the attacks and defense in the regular blocks, regular cuts, regular slices. I will talk about them in the sense as normally the Sword Experience does it, so trying to pair it with the angulation system that Sword XP is using, because it actually is not a bad idea to kind of have, you know, numbers and names imprinted, because every single training system, be it again kendos, schools and stuff, they have their own names, you know, Menkoto Do and all this stuff, to indicate where the hit will go and where it should stop and how it should be performed. So having the system always helps. Anyway, so thank you for watching. I hoped you did see something interesting in your week, or not, I don't know. It certainly helps me because I talk, exercise outside, so thank you very much for spending time with me. Goodbye, until next time.